Hi, I am Claudia, and I help you create peace instead of pieces. Today, we are talking about divorce, which we talk about a lot, but specifically, we're talking about how long should my mediation take? There's a reason. Every time I talk to you guys about something, it's usually because of a conversation that I've had with someone else. So, yesterday, I was meeting with a group of my fellow mediators, and I keep quiet in that group because there are a lot of people in that room who are smarter than me. Unless somebody kind of makes me speak. And that happened yesterday. Anyway, they asked how long it takes me to complete a divorce. Like, how many sessions do I have? Two, maybe three. On average, 2 to 3 sessions, each session being an hour. You mean to tell me you can do a divorce in 2 hours? Yeah, for the most part. Now, these aren't people who have like a million properties and things like that. Although I have a feeling those types of people might be even easier because they probably have a prenup and know everything that's supposed to happen. That's not the point. The point is, if you are my client and you want to be someone, whether you work with me or somebody else, you want to be one of those clients who does 2 mediation sessions, maybe 3, and your divorce is settled. I've got some tips for you today of things that, as your mediator, I need you to do to let me help you move faster. Okay, you guys are ready for that? Number one, you have to let me be your guide. If divorce is a mountain, I've been up and down that baby several times. Not personally, once. But as a professional, I have taken people to the summit and have helped them get a divorce. I know where the pitfalls are. I know what's going to go wrong. I know what's going to happen. So if you don't let me be your guide, I'm not sure why you hired me. Wait, why did you just file that on your own? That doesn't make any sense. That's the wrong form for the wrong county, and that's just going to slow everything up. Let the mediator guide you through this process. Don't assume that you know everything about this process. Well, don't assume also that you don't know anything. That's equally as bad. But let that professional be the professional, and when they give you instructions, listen, follow along. I actually have had a couple where they're not always using their time in mediation wisely because they're arguing, and it's more than normal arguing. It's an increased amount of arguing that is normal for divorce mediations. And they don't let me talk. Like, I try to get a word in edgewise. It's different. I'm like, what is happening here? But okay. And so the times I can talk, they don't listen. So after a while, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I guess we're going to be fighting around this few $1,000s that really probably doesn't matter in the end and is not all that important when you think about we still haven't talked about your child yet. That may be probably more important than $15,000, $20,000. Hey, but I'm just the guide. What do I know? So listen to the mediator's instruction. 2, complete your paperwork quickly. Divorce runs on paperwork. In California, it takes a minimum of 6 months to get a divorce, and that 6 months clock does not start when you file for divorce. It starts when your spouse is served. Now, other states have other timelines, and a lot of states have shorter timelines, but you gotta start the timeline. I know that there are mediators out there who are like, "Let's agree on everything, and then we'll do our paperwork at the end." Okay, I don't do that. You getting a divorce? Because we can do the paperwork, and if in the middle of it you change your mind, no problem, baby. We file a dismissal and we're fine. We can dismiss that. But let's get the clock started because if it takes your spouse a little bit longer to get his or her paperwork in, the clock is still running. And hopefully we get your agreement in before the 6 months is up. The 6 months just means you can't be divorced before that time. So, it's ideally you wanna have your paperwork sitting there with the judge or the clerk waiting to be signed. So, you wanna complete your paperwork quickly because I don't mediate unless I have your financial disclosures. And those are a pain in the butt to do, so you need to give yourself time to do them. And you don't need to take a long time. You don't need to like start your divorce and then a year later finally get your financial disclosures. Or maybe you did them in March and your spouse didn't do them until December. And so now you're mediating in January and you got to redo them because all your numbers are old. We don't want that. Do things in a timely manner. And this is where, if you can convince your spouse to mediate, you should be able to convince them to get their stuff done. It's a pain, yes, but it's not going to go away. You've got to disclose your money situation. So get your paperwork done on time. Here is the thing about the way I work as fast as you work. Now, I'm not going to mediate with you on a Thursday and mediate again with you on a Friday. No, I don't do that because you need a break in between there. You have to process information. But if you file for divorce and get your financial disclosures in right away, we're going to get that started, baby. Why not? We don't have to wait. So get your paperwork done. Okay, 2. No, that was 2. 3. 3. Respect your mediator's time and pay them on time. Some mediators are very nice. I'm very nice. But some mediators don't charge you until after the mediation. I'm like, so you want me to do all of this work and you might ghost me on the payment? Is that a term? I don't know. No, I'm not doing that. You pay, I will show up. It's simple. But also, don't abuse the fact that you have my email or that you can text me. That's just going to exhaust me. And it's probably going to make me work slower because I'm just going to be done. So respect the mediator's time. Be a pleasant customer, be a joy to work with, make their lives easier. 4, this you know what? I'm gonna save number 4 for 5 because that's the real kicker. That's the secret sauce. Okay, so let's go to number 4, which used to be number 5. Do your homework. Do your homework. Y'all know I used to be a school teacher. Sometimes there's homework and sometimes there's not, and it depends on how the day goes. Same in mediation. Sometimes there's homework and sometimes there's not, and it depends on how your conversations go. You don't know what type of retirement accounts you have. You don't know how much you pay for health insurance for your children. You need to find that out. That should have been done on your financial disclosures, but I'm just making up something. But usually at the end of mediation, a mediation session, I will type up notes. They're color coded because elementary school teacher. I will type up notes, and on some of those notes, you'll have homework, your spouse will have homework, or I will have homework. We might need to research something or find the answer to your question. You might need to call your plan administrator. You might need to figure out exactly, like, okay, maybe I need to talk to a realtor and figure out if we're going to sell this house or not, or talk to a broker. Sometimes there is homework that needs to be done, and it is a waste of your time and money to show up to your next session and not have done that. If we are dependent upon that information to reach a settlement, it makes no sense whatsoever to come back and be like, I couldn't get a hold of anyone. Why didn't you reschedule the meeting then? So do your homework. I know I'm kind of sounding mean. I'm not trying to sound mean. My job is to give you tips to get you through this quickly. So do your homework, booze. Okay, last one. This is my favorite tip. This saves you so much time. But you already know. You already know what's coming. It's going to be one thing you don't want to do. It requires a massive amount of grown-upness on your part, a massive amount of maturity and swallowing pride. And that is talk to your spouse on your own. It's like magic. What can you agree on outside of the presence of the mediator? Is there anything? Do that. Have those conversations, discuss that, figure out what that looks like. Maybe you can't figure out what your normal child schedule should be and the time percentages, but you know what your holiday schedule should look like. Talk about that. Don't waste my time, which really is your time and your money. Don't waste time in my presence talking about Christmas and Thanksgiving when you guys can do that on your own. You don't need me to help with that. There are other things that create more tension. And I bring up holidays intentionally for the most part. People don't have a big fight about a holiday. They don't. Unless, every once in a while it's not true. But if it's something that you can talk about and that it's not gonna, uh, you know, go into name calling and anger and throwing a glass at somebody and flipping over a table and being kicked out of the restaurant, if it's not gonna be that way, have that conversation because it becomes like, have a little, I don't want to call it a coffee date because you're not dating, but like a little coffee meeting where you're in public and it's a business meeting and you are handling the business of how are we dividing up this partnership and how is this going to work? And these things are not so full of tension that we can't fix them on our own. Here is another secret. So when you do that, then you send your notes to the mediator. The mediator can incorporate that in your agreement. There are other things, and I could tell you about that another time. But the best part about that, beyond saving time, beyond saving money. Mm-mm. The best part about it is you are beginning to build goodwill with your soon to be former spouse. And if you have children together, you are going to have to stay in contact with one another. Isn't that just grand? It's so fun. So, if you guys can begin to get into the practice of we're talking about this, we're discussing this, we can do this, it's going to save you in the future. In the future, there might be things long past the divorce where you just can't get to that point. That's the time to call in a mediator. But for most issues, you should be able to work through it. And so this is like training ground for you when you have a mediator in your back corner, in your back pocket, going, okay, let's just schedule another meeting with Claudia because we can't talk about this here. And that is exactly what I'm here to help you with. I'm not here to help you talk about the things that you don't need me to help talk about. But if we're in a mediation and you are screaming and yelling at one another, I am then going to say, okay, that other stuff y'all talk about without me. This don't talk about that without me. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Because I can help play the referee. So that is how my clients finish quickly. They let me guide them through their divorce so that they can get through it quickly. They complete their paperwork quickly. They don't, just sit around and wait. They get it done. It's important. They respect my time and they pay on time because once you pay, we can schedule. Uh, they do their homework. They don't come to the mediation session unprepared. And most importantly, they talk to one another outside of mediation to solve problems that they don't need my help for. And that will save you a lot of time. Divorce can be confusing, but if you hire a guide, it's no longer confusing. You get help on the way, but you have to listen to that guide. And you got to trust them when they say, you can do this. All right. So listen to me. You can do this. You can do this. I'm here. I'm in your corner. I'm rooting for a peaceful dissolution. Although every once in a while somebody comes back and say, can we file dismissal because we reconciled? Yes. Yes. Good for you. Yes. Yes. I love marriage. All right. Have a great day. If you've got questions, go ahead and comment below or, hit me up on a DM. Have a great day.